So something happened this week in the world of AI pricing, and we need to talk about it. OpenAI cut the price of its Terra and Luna models by 20% and 80% respectively. Now, if you think about what better, faster, cheaper actually means in the AI space, then you know that being able to get more AI tasks done at a good level of quality for a cheaper price means you can consume more of it. To my mind, this is OpenAI firing a warning shot to its competitors. What it means is that they have enough spare compute and are making enough margin on serving inference via API to justify such massive price discounts. Can you think of other products in the technology space over the last few years where you can serve something that was top of market at the start of the year at a fraction of its price and still make money? There's a reason why Anthropic and OpenAI have been in such a strong position, and it's not just that there's much more demand for AI as a technology. The reality is, as they are improving the quality of their models, they're figuring out how to serve these models more profitably. They're optimizing how everything works. Not only are they winning more enterprise API deals, they're also learning that a lot of customers are more careful about exactly which tasks they push to which model. You're not going to send every single business task to GPT 5.6 Sol Ultra, and this is one of the opportunities that they have from a competitive position. If you think about where we sit at the moment, Anthropic are widely perceived and recognized as the leader. If you look at the artificial intelligence benchmarks, you know that Fable 5 and Mythos and all this sort of thing, they're pretty much the best models. But GPT 5.6 Ultra isn't that far behind. The reality is, for many use cases, you really do not need to use that level of intelligence. You can get away with a better, faster, cheaper model. The other problem that Anthropic and OpenAI have is that even though Anthropic is having one of the top models, there are some restrictions that they had to put in place which make it effectively unusable for a lot of enterprise clients. So zero data retention isn't actually available on a lot of things because for trust and safety, platform safety purposes, they have to retain data for 30 days at least. So that means that there's a lot of enterprise clients who are using Opus, or they were using Opus 4.8, now they're using Opus 5. What that actually means is when they look at the comparison, it's not actually between Fable 5 and GPT 5.6 Sol. The actual comparison they're having to make is against Opus 5. And that means that OpenAI is actually in a much stronger competitive position than a lot of people want to give them credit for. When you add in the fact that there are increasingly bits of evidence that Claude Code is too token hungry as a coding harness, you can see that there's a lot more competition in this industry than people really want to talk about. And one thing that I find increasingly frustrating is a lot of people on social media and a lot of people in corporate boardrooms are still operating as if Anthropic is going to win and guaranteed to win, when the reality is it's not that simple. And a lot of people are going to find themselves increasingly frustrated by the safety type restrictions that are applied to Anthropic models. While OpenAI has many of the same cybersecurity type limitations, it's nowhere near as restrictive as Claude. And when you think about the OpenAI and Hugging Face incident that happened recently, who do you think you would prefer to be able to use as help in cyber defense? At this stage, it's probably not going to be Anthropic. It's just too restrictive. And the ability of open source, open weight models to give you that cyber defense capability you need in the moment without hitting you with safety restrictions means that a lot of decision makers at companies buying AI care deeply about knowing that that API endpoint will work when they need it to. They can't afford, in the heat of a cybersecurity incident, to be hit with a safety classifier that downgrades their model performance from an already degraded model to an even lower performance model. That's what's happening every day now. You can see all over social media, people are constantly posting photos of when Anthropic has cut them down to a dumber model. And people hate that. And increasingly, they're not going to pay a premium to be treated like that as customers. But what does this actually mean though? Because to my mind, as someone who spent a lot of time testing and working with AI models of all sorts and tried out all of the coding harnesses, if I'm a decision maker at an enterprise, I know that my priority for the rest of 2026 is making sure I have as many model vendors on my approved model list as I can. You do not want to be in a position where the preferences around safety of one AI model lab start to impact your business operations. I think there's still not been enough discussion about the level of disruption the export control saga caused a lot of enterprise clients. What people in a lot of the AI safety type communities don't understand yet is that despite many of the reasonable and appropriate things that Anthropic is doing, it's increasingly perceived by a lot of enterprise clients as a risk. Why? Because they feel like at some point, because of a perceived capability increase, they could have their enterprise access just turned off by the flick of a switch. That means that they want to send fewer workflows to Anthropic. It also means that a lot of the hyped up revenue that Anthropic is allegedly earning is coming from customers who were spending a lot earlier in the year, but aren't necessarily spending as much now. All of this wraps up into one overarching issue, which is that customers of frontier AI model labs expect to be treated like customers of any other product. They expect quality, they expect good service, and they expect reliability. And increasingly, what is happening is because of the rapid growth of these businesses, a lot of the things that haven't been thought about clearly enough are getting exposed. If you think about some of the cybersecurity mistakes the labs have made that have been disclosed just in the last week or two, you know that at many regulated entities, if anything like that happened, it'd be a complete scandal. So one downstream consequence of all of this is we're probably likely to see in the next few weeks very interesting announcements in terms of the cybersecurity side of AI-related model development. Hopefully there's some sort of additional controls put in where frontier labs have to be much more open and transparent and forced to disclose a lot more about what's actually going on in some of their safety and testing. While many of their defenders will tell you that they already do a lot of safety testing, these loss of control type incidents recently mean that there probably isn't enough, and there probably needs to be more, and there probably needs to be more regulation around AI development. And this isn't just about AI itself. It's about recognizing the wider societal impacts that better AI model capability is going to have on the rest of us. What do you think about all of this? Let me know in the comments below. Hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll chat to you in the next video.